Hi, fantastic fourth graders. So today we are going to do our hands-on activity for our social studies unit. We have been talking about the 4 regions of Texas, and so I thought it would be fun if we made a salt dough map of Texas that you guys can paint the different areas and kind of like help self-check and make sure that you do know the mountain and basins, the central plains, the Great Plains, and the coastal plains. So let's get into it. I'm going to list off a bunch of materials. Feel free, you can pause the video, you can look at the handout that's linked in our Google Classroom and gather what you need. So we're going to need a mixing bowl. We're going to need a measuring cup that is 1 cup. We're going to need a spoon to mix with. We're going to need flour and salt. We're also going to need some water. We'll need scissors, a Sharpie, a pencil, some tape, and then the outline of Texas that I have linked in Google Classroom underneath is just attached to the instructions page. And we'll also need a sturdy piece of cardboard so you can kind of hear, this one's like kind of thick, it doesn't bend. If you have an Amazon box at home that mom and dad don't mind you cutting up, go for that. And then we do also need 4 different colors of paint for the 4 different regions of Texas. So again, I'll put a little slide right here, right now in the video listing all the things. Pause the video, go find your materials, and then come back. So the first thing you're going to do is cut out the outline of Texas that I showed you originally. And then what we're going to do is tape it on in a couple of spots onto our piece of cardboard. Yeah. After that's done, you're going to take your pencil and make an outline. Make sure that you kind of get in all of the grooves so that we do see all of the coastline. So then after we've got that original outline in pencil, it's kind of hard to see. So we're going to take off the map and we're going to go over it in Sharpie so that you can see better where to add your salt dough. So at the end of it, should have something resembling Texas. So you can now put your cardboard off to the side and it's time to make our dough. So now we're going to get our bowl and our 1 cup measuring cup. And we're going to put in 2 cups worth of flour. We're not baking, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're then going to get our salt. We're going to put in 2 cups of salt as well. So it's equal parts salt and flour. So right now, it's just dry salt and flour. I'm going to mix it up just a little bit. And then I'm going to add in some water. So I'm going to start with a cup of water. I might need more, I might not. We're trying to get the consistency of Play-Doh, but because there's salt in the mixture, it's going to be kind of gritty. I'm thinking I might need a little bit more water. I'm going to do a touch. Actually, this molds like Play-Doh, so I'm going to say 2 cups of flour, 2 cups of salt, and 1 cup of water was good for me. That's where I would recommend that you guys start at, but again, it kind of depends on how you're measuring it, whether or not you're going to need any more of anything. And mom and dad can totally help you out with that. So now that I've got my dough made, I'm going to put this off to the side a little bit. I'm going to grab my Texas map back
And then we're just gonna take a chunk of the dough and push it onto our map. We're gonna push it off to the sides, fill in that line as best that we can. And then the cool thing about the salt dough is you can build up different elevations. So we've kind of been talking about the elevations. If I have mountains in my mountain and basin region, I'm going to want to put my dough a little bit taller up in the mountain region than I would in the plains. So I'm gonna get like my general Texas dough on, and then I'm gonna go back in and kind of squish it around a little bit so that it resembles the different regions a little bit better. So at this point, I'm happy with how my Texas looks. Maybe go to add a little bit more up here to cover this bit of Sharpie that I had. And then I need to let this sit for 24 hours. So I'm gonna let it sit overnight, and then I will catch up with you guys in a little bit. So it has been 24 hours. My map is dry. If I pinch my little mountain, it's not pliable anymore, so I know I'm ready to paint. Off to the side, I have the 4 regions of Texas slideshow pulled up so that I can see the different regions, and I am ready to paint. So I've got my paintbrushes, I have a little bowl of paint. I'm going to start with the coastal plains. I want that to be blue because it's close to the ocean and the coast. And the coastal plains kind of starts up at the top, and then it makes all the way to the little point of Texas. Happy with my coastal plains. I'm going to move on to the north central plains. And so that goes right up against the coastal plains. It kind of comes in at the top and it wiggles around a little bit. And then we meet back up with the coastal plains over here. Okay, and then I'm going to jump all the way over to my mountains and basins, because that's a smaller area, and I'll be able to fill in the Great Plains with what I have left instead of trying to draw the Great Plains with it. Okay. So right in here is going to be the Great Plains. All right, and there is my 4 regions of Texas map: mountains and basins, Great Plains, North Central Plains, and Coastal Plains. I hope you guys had as much fun as I did with this little project, and I will see you next time.